Welcome back to the North American Championship 2015, presented by Xbox. Mr. X, joined in the booth by Gizmo, one of our cast-off contestants. Gizmo, tell the people at home, might not know a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I currently work in broadcast. I'm a meteorologist, and through the cast-off experience, just kind of took a shot on it. Didn't expect much, and a couple weeks later, here we are.
Big surprise, now you're here, right? So we have a fantastic match coming up for you. It's going to be Optic Nation versus Faze Red. I know a little bit about the players on both of these teams.
Yes.
And obviously, this is going to be a lot of storylines from both sides. Start off with Optic Nation, obviously. Team 5 rings, you're going to have Killa, Teep, Karma, and Miracles. And there's Karma on your screen. Two-time Call of Duty World Champion, trying to do it again this year for the third time. 0.97 respawn KD, but I don't think that really shows to his strengths. I mean, one of the best and most explosive players in all of Call of Duty. Talk a little bit about Killa. 0.95 respawn KD, but the S&D player, obviously everyone's going to be looking out for in this series. Definitely the in-game leader for this Optic Nation squad. Definitely going to say he's going to be the one calling all the shots, Gizmo, in this game. And then you're going to have Miracles. He's going to be their kind of flex player. So he can do a little bit of the OBJ. He can do a little bit of the slaying. I think him and Teep in this series really going to bounce off each other. How one plays is going to dictate what the other one do. You see, he's got a 1.04 KD. Don't really think that is indicative for a objective player. And as I say that, Teep with the same exact KD. His S&D can be up and down at times. Teep loves to just kind of keep his standard play from map to map. So sometimes he gets a little bit predictable in those spots. Going to be interesting to see if he's going to change it up here against his longtime duo, Patrick Price, over on the Faze squad.
Yeah, that's going to be the matchup. I just wish there was a couple players with rings in this game.
Every ring is in this match minus Crim 6s. So this is made up of the top players in Call of Duty.
Yep, and now we're going to take a look at Faze Red. We'll start off Faze Red. Several good players on this team. Aches, for me, he's the one that really drives this. He's been playing fantastic so far this tournament. If he keeps playing that way, watch out for this team. He has been on a tear. That 0.92 KD, a little bit low, but I'm sure that will be coming up. That was for Season 1. Moving on to Enable, probably my breakout star so far for AW. Yeah. He's been unbelievable. Top 5 player right now, absolutely dominating as the Slayer on this Faze Red team. Fantastic player. And moving on now, next player coming up is Parasite. As far as all around goes,
guy does it all.
Yeah, what doesn't he do? Earlier on, he was 5-5 in S&D. So if he's only 5-5 and his teammates are playing better than that, watch out for this Faze team. He's incredible in respawn, even better in my opinion in S&D. And finally, and certainly not last but not least, Slasher. He's been fantastic. Heard Enable talking about it a couple tournaments ago that he actually thought Austin was doing everything better than him. So that's kind of a scary thought when you put all of those 4 players together. If they're running on all cylinders, tough to beat this team.
It's a very scary thought. This Faze Red team put together with no goal other than to take out Optic Gaming.
Yeah.
It's really what this team was designed for, and I think all eyes are going to be on Aches in this series. I have not had an opportunity to see Faze Red for myself thus far this tournament. I saw Optic Nation the other night. I picked Optic Nation versus an Optic Gaming final. Felt pretty good about that coming into today, but you've been casting over on the Bravo stream. You've seen some of Faze Red. What have you seen so far from them?
Yeah, actually, I've casted both of Faze Red so far, and they've absolutely dominated. And the player that, in those intros we were talking about, Aches, has been on fire so far. If he continues that right now, they should be in good shape against Nation.
Yeah, we have the players just down here to our left and right, and I see, Pat was sitting on the end before the game, and I was like, what's the deal? You gonna come out and win this one? And he said, I've been putting up a 1.7 KD thus far. Don't plan on stopping. So we're going to look at our key player matchup for the first Hardpoint game. It's going to be a Hardpoint on Biolab. And the key player matchup in this one's going to be Killa versus Slasher. And this one, Killa is really going to be that in-game leader for Optic Nation. Talked a little bit about it before. Really going to be relying on him to call out the rotations, call out the plays for this Optic Nation squad. And then you see Slasher on the other side. Gizmo just doing a phenomenal job in the Slayer department.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been just absolutely slaying out pretty much every map so far. And he's impressed me S&D as well, not just a Slayer. I've been impressed with him pretty much in all facets of his game. If this Faze Red team is on, it's tough to do anything against
him. If this Faze Red team is on and playing together and not arguing,
yes,
they have, top to bottom, it's very close to the best roster in Call of Duty. But the first map is going to be loading up right now. Parasite had 36% of Faze defense and 37% of his caps in Hardpoint at Season 1 champs. You talked a little bit about the guy does it all. He was our Hardpoint player of the year for Season 1. Just does everything in the kill to death department, the OBJ department, just an absolutely phenomenal all-around player. I think you put some of his personality stuff aside, it kind of rubs people the wrong way. I think everyone looks at him as a clear-cut top 5 player.
Yeah, I think sometimes people let that attitude get in the way and they forget really how good of a player he's been and how long he's been doing this at a very high rate. If you put that aside, a lot of big egos, and if they can all blend together, it's going to be a fantastic tournament for them, and really champs as a whole should be awesome.
Absolutely. And Gizmo, who do you want to start off on board with here first?
Let's go on board with Parasite. We've been talking about him. We've been hyping him up. Now he's got to perform for me.
And he's got that TAC 19 in that first hill, something we don't see often. The Sentinel side, it's going to be Faze. They spawn extremely close to this first hardpoint, and he's going to be doing a nice job watching ice. He's going to pick up Karma coming down there once. The storyline we did not even talk about, Parasite going up against 3 members of the Impact team. I believe this is the first time that's ever happened, so going to be looking to see how he performs in this series. Parasite always performing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder against ex-teammates. You're going to see Karma in the hill now trying to make something happen, but Optic Nation getting behind here at the start by a lot.
Yeah, so far 26-1. Yeah, that is a big lead in FaZe's favor, and they're adding on to it right now. Let's check out the rotation here to the second hill. It's going to be extremely important with only 6 seconds left. FaZe is getting that scrap time, but Matt, what does it look like for the rotation from Optic Nation? It's going to be so important when you're trailing by this much already.
So Optic Nation has beaten FaZe to this second hard point. You're going to see Karma up top. He's going to get that melee kill on Enable. They're going to have to do a nice job of holding this down. You're going to see Karma on your screen now. He's going to pick up one. He's got players pushing above him, though, there in support. So Optic Nation doing a nice job of holding this down off of rotation. I think, Gizmo, this is a hill that they can make some of that time on, but the next one on blue, they're going to have to make a very nice chunk of time on it. So see Karma picking up 2, not enough, though, as Enable starting off hot in this game, 6-3.
Yeah, Enable taken out there. Parasite now trying to flood into this hill at Eskies, and he's going to pick up 1 kill. I think he saw another one. He picks up 2. That's a huge 2-piece right now for Parasite on a 2-streak, but he finally falls, and 20 seconds left now. Optic Nation controlling this hard point, but Aches has something to say about that. He's trying to come in. Him and Enable both now holding this down for the last 10, and now you're starting to see that rotation on. You can see the Optic Nation players already moving. Matt, how do you want to rotate this to this hill specifically?
You know, when you'll either spawn over on Elbow, where you saw Karma spawn. I had him highlighted on the mini-map, or you'll spawn over in that green plat area. I think either way, as soon as you spawn over there and there's maybe 10-15 seconds left, you want to push, but it looks like Optic Nation getting to those hard points first, just not able to win those gunfights. As you see Parasite, he's going to be breaking into that hill right away. Enable and Slasher picking up kills outside of the hard point. Going to go on board with Slasher as he's pushing this out over towards purple, and this one is getting away from Optic Nation fast.
Yeah, right now you're just looking at the kill feed, and it's pretty much all FaZe so far. Another one for Slasher. Can he get the second? Yes, he can. He's on a 4 streak. Parasite's on a 3 streak. That makes 4 now for Parasite and both Slasher. Now they're just holding down this window. They're just all flying in here from the green side. It's going to be very difficult, and finally taken down by a player on top, Crane.
They're doing a good job just forcing the issue over on green plat. Optic Nation gonna need to rotate here, get control of that green plat hill and kind of play for that time. You see nobody really doing much of anything in the kill columns for Optic Nation.
Right now in the final scrap time on here, Kill's gonna hold it down. He gets a kill, so now he's on a 2 streak. Matt, when you're down this big as a coach, what do you tell your team? You can't let the game slip away. It's too early for that to happen.
You can't get frantic. I think one thing for Optic Nation that's not going their way, they're playing the game the right way, Gizmo. They're rotating right, they're watching the right spots. They are just not able to win those gunfights. You see Karma in the kill feed picking up 2 right there, but still, FaZe able to control this hardpoint right off the bat, and it does not look good for ON. They can't seem to break, and even when they rotate early and they hold, they still seem to get outslayed.
Yeah, right now Parasite going off. He's already 14-6 on a 2 streak. Look at Enable, 15-9 on a 2 streak. Aches picking up kills. When they're playing like this, what can you do? Look at that score right now. They're beating them by 100 points.
We talked about it a little bit in the pregame. You know, when this team is hot, they are a team that has a roster that can only be matched by one other roster in Call of Duty, and that is Optic Gaming. So FaZe coming out, really living up to their potential here through the first rotations of hills, going into the last one. You know, pretty dominant performance by them thus far.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but your biggest worry is taking a loss and then they start bickering a little bit. You know what the best cure for that is? Winning. And when you're winning like this,
it's a very good point, Gizmo. FaZe's whole kind of thing as a team is, you know, they argue time to time. It's very difficult to argue when you're blowing teams out the entire weekend, and that's exactly what they've come here to do.
All right, so Slasher is right now, he went down, but now we're in a contested hard point. Enable, Aches both inside of it, as well as Karma and TP looking for a kill to kind of take this over. There's Aches picking up 1, but he's quickly traded. Slasher finds 1, and then now he's looking for a Killa, but Killa comes in and takes him out.
Yeah, and you're going to see Karma making his way into the hard point. This one, really, you're just going to be able to contest. I think this is actually a pretty good hard point for Optic Nation from the standpoint is they can get that gun skill going, get the the blood flowing, so to speak. But Team 6 and 19 right now really struggling through the first rotation of hills.
Okay, so for the first rotation, it's certainly been all Faze. What does Optic Nation need to change for this second set of hills, if there's any way they can come back?
They rotated perfect. They were in the right positions. I thought they rotated at the right time, gave up on hills when they needed to. They're just not picking up the kills, and it's really difficult. Team 8 and 20 right now. You can't really win with somebody playing that negative. You're going to need him to step it up big time here in the second rotation.
How frustrating is that as a player? I was watching Orbit yesterday. They were making all the right rotations, but just weren't winning the gunfights. When you're doing everything right, how frustrating is it to still be down by so much?
It's frustrating. It really is when you're making the right plays, but just not winning those gunfights. But at the same time, you kind of have to chalk it up at the end of the game. You can't really look at your teammates and say, you know what? We played that wrong. Situational play we could have did that would have changed the game. You really didn't mess anything like that up. It was just you just didn't win your gunfights.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Parasite working down towards this hard point. 20 seconds left, and it is still a big lead in Faze's favor, though Optic Nation is starting to chip into that. Aches picks up a kill. He's looking for one more, but he's taken down. That's Killer picking up the kill. That's 2 now for Killer. He's on a 2 streak. Miracle's on a 2 streak, and TP on a 2 streak. So they're starting to heat up a little bit, taking out the barrels. Last 5 seconds here of scrap time. The rotation needs to be on already.
They wasted a ton of time here, Gizmo, to be completely honest with you. They could have rotated a little bit earlier, didn't need to take all that time in that middle one. See, Karma, he's actually going to pick up one with that machine turret, and they're going to try and push this all the way from snow. As soon as they get this, Gizmo, I need to see one player from Optic Nation really push out green plat, because you see the players from Faze converging on the hard point fast.
Yeah, they all are right now. You can see pretty much every player on your mini-map, but look how far out the Optic Nation players are spawning out right now. Not in good shape when you have 2 or 3 players from Faze holding down this hard point. Parasite and Aches both, and you just talked about it. Aches inside the hard point, but his teammates pushing it out and keeps pushing that spawn back for Optic Nation.
And that's a huge 3-piece right there from Parasite. I would highlight one player from Faze that's really doing a ton of great work, but they're all putting in individual efforts that equal each other. You have Slasher at 28 and 22. Enable, really, I think he's the one you probably would highlight. 9 captures, 25 and 19. Parasite, 26 and 16. And then Aches, that +1. We talked a lot about how he was going to play this weekend. As long as he didn't have a weekend like Season 1 champs, I thought this team would be fine.
So now the rotation end, and this is a big hill. To be honest, if Optic Nation has any chance.
This is the game. Right?
Yeah, right here. They need to be picking up some time. Parasite already in the hill, though. Miracle's trying to throw a few stuns out. He does stun one player. Can he pick up the kill? He does. Now he's going to try and break this. Parasite's peeking that, and there's no way you're coming through there.
And Parasite really just dominating on this hill. Going to pick up a second one. 31 and 16 on a 5 streak. Really, Parasite taking over this game, and I think he's a player that we talk a lot about. The Scums, the Formals, the Krim and Karma, players like that can take over games. I think Parasite, when everything is clicking, he can take over a game in numerous ways.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about not only his respawn game, but his S&D is fantastic. He's been holding down this hard point for I think the entire duration so far. Another huge kill coming in. Ache slides right into that hard point. You love the change of what you used to call the anchor, pushing into the hard point. One player dies, but one more right in. Just not giving Optic Nation a chance here.
And Faze, they can solidify it on this hill right here. 5 seconds left. Looks like Parasite going to be on this hill, and this one is going to end. Oh, actually, no, we have one player in there from Optic Nation. It's going to be Team contesting. They're going to get control of this next hill, but it is so late, Gizmo. 249 to 110. This one is definitely going to go in Faze's favor.
All right, so if Optic Nation could replay this map, what would you want them to do?
They rotated fine. I think the second rotation of hills from the first one over towards Eskies, really, that was the one you would kind of like to replay again. If you were Optic Nation, I think, though, they rotated fine. They just didn't win enough gun battles, and that's a scary thing to look at as this series goes on. Obviously, it's going to be difficult to win those gunfights. I mean, Parasite going 34 and 19, Slasher 32 and 27, Enable 32 and 23. I think you're going to have to put eyes on Teep. Teep's a player who he'll kind of own up to that one. He'll say, I messed up, my bad. Let's just move on to the next one. You're going to see a strong performance from Optic Nation S&D.
Yeah, they're going on a solar now. So what do you expect from both of these teams? Can Optic Nation put that one behind them? That's kind of a demoralizing loss to start off the series.
It's a demoralizing loss to start the series out, but these players are all world champions, all veterans of the game. Definitely expect to put that one to the side, chalk it up as a loss, not really going to be too worried about it. And when we come back from this quick commercial break, we're going to have that second match between Optic Nation and Faze.